Chair recognizes Mr. Wu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, this always reminds me of something that was taught to me a long time ago when I was studying, and that is, just because you don't understand something does not make it witchcraft. And this is kind of where we are. We are taking an action that will seek to harm a group of people in our state that number in the hundreds of thousands. That even outside of that group and outside of the trans community, there are others who are non-binary, who maybe don't fit into the neat little pockets that we like to create, who will be harmed by this. And I think there's enough of people here who say, well, we don't really care, it's fine. Who cares if they're harmed? I understand that. And the reason we're doing it, I think, is worse. Here, we're saying that we're going to do this because it is something that has always been tradition. It's just the way we understood it for thousands of years. We've understood other things for thousands of years. For a long time, we thought the earth was flat. For an even longer time, we thought that the entire universe circled our planet. We didn't understand what causes the tides. And over time, through research and understanding, we learn, we grow, we develop, we evolve. And we get better and better, and we have a better and better understanding. And things that once were scary to us, we have a better understanding of it. This law is being pushed because of anecdotes, because of driven fear against a small minority community. And I think the people are saying that, well, there's a sudden influx of trans people, everything is trans. Only in their minds does that happen, because the reality is trans people have always existed. Whether you know it or not, whether you understand what trans people go through or not, they have always existed. They existed decades ago. They existed last year. They exist today. We've had these same laws on the books for decades and decades and decades, and trans people in the past used them at least as small comforts, a small saving grace where their life can be just a little bit less brutal, a little bit less miserable, and maybe they can find just a small ounce of happiness in a state that promises that we can do what we want to do and live the way we want to live. We are choosing to cause real harm to real people for no real benefit. This is a statement bill for those of you who are voting for it. But for those people that it affects, this is their life, and maybe this is their death. The problem is, we look at the things like the way this bill is drafted. We say in the law that we're trying to pass, it says that your gender will be determined by the way your organs, the way you are developed. There's a reason why we don't use that definition, because it doesn't make any sense. As we have asked the bill author again and again, what does is developed mean? Are you talking about what is supposed to be in the body or what is actually in the body? Because for those of you who don't understand, biology is complicated. Biology does not operate on black and white. The biology does not operate on or off. Biology is a bell curve. What you perceive as simple things, when you actually study it, when you actually go to school, when you actually do research, when you actually read books, is much more complicated. There are many, many things that do not fall into this neat little pocket. why we try to ask, why a phenotypical expression? Why is it what the body is supposed to produce? Why not the genotype? Why not the genetics? Why not look at this as XY chromosome? Why not? It seems kind of arbitrary that we would pick this and not the other. Why not both? And here's why. You want to know really why we don't do genotype either? Because that's a mess too. Because you can be born XY, XX, XXY, XYY, XXYY, and all the other variations of it. But people don't want to talk about that because it's complicated. It makes the gray zone too big. They want to put everything into neat little pockets that they feel like they can understand. Just as a very short list, we talked about AIS, a disease and a malfunction in genetic code that causes people to be insensitive to chemicals and molecules such as testosterone, called androgen insensitivity syndrome, meaning that while the infant's body is producing testosterone from developing testes, the body itself cannot detect it. And if it cannot detect it, the body treats it as if it is a female. And so genetics says that it is going to start developing the body as a female, but this will be a child born with testes where the ovaries should be. How does that fit into this bill? They are functionally, by outward appearances, female, but their body plan, by the definition of this law, says male. But they don't care, right? Because who cares if we hurt these people? It's only 1 out of 20,000. We have talked about all the different other types of diseases that can cause malformation, non-formation, double formation of all sorts of different sex characteristics. And I'm not going to read through this, but any court that is looking through this bill should be looking at all the different diseases that would cause someone to not fit into the pattern of this bill, to fall outside the scope. And as the bill author said, her goal was for accuracy. Her goal was for truthfulness. Her goal was to make it clear and make it complete. And
has expired.
7 minutes and 30 seconds.
Sure.
I started my own clock. Here we have shown you that this bill is not accurate because it leaves many things out. It is not truthful because it does not say actually what everyone is based on those things. That definition provides no clarity. It is not clear. And here we say once again, when we operate from our gut feelings, operate from tradition, that is arbitrary and capricious. And I'll say one more thing. And all this point to say is this: why are we doing this? Why do this? Why do this to hurt people when it serves no real benefit? Because isn't it our right as Texans, isn't it our right as Americans to be able to live free, to be who we are? Trans people have lived their lives in this state under the existing laws for decades and decades with no cause, with no problems. People say that it's causing all these problems. Show me the problems. Show me the articles. Tell me the arrest records. Show me the lawsuits. They don't exist because the problem only exists in people's minds. This sounds good until you start thinking about it. I hope that one day we can operate this body in a way that doesn't find people to hurt in order to help other people get more power. Vote no.